Hey, Phil. So thanks for coming on and talking to me. I know the biggest question that we're going to have as we go into NAFTA and even outside NAFTA is how do you generate a $30 lead and get a retain in 72 hours? It seems a little too good to be true. So let's start with how you create it, how you generate it.
Right. Okay. So the key to generating or getting a lead from 720 system strategies is, first of all, is we're not about making all our money on the lead. Like, yes, we generate leads, but that's not our complete system. My real goal is to get a lead coming in and make it so profitable that the attorneys make more money because they're going to be in our lead follow-up program and our 720 program and our review generation program. So first of all, I'm not trying to capitalize on all the lead cost, making money on the lead. I can spread it out during the system. The second aspect is we advertise on social media versus other aspects like Google, right? When you're advertising on social media, it's just known in the marketing industry that it's a less motivated client for the most part. And the reason why is they're not going in and typing in bankruptcy attorney near me. So when it's less motivated, the beauty is we generate these leads and we hand them over to your call center, the heroes at HCT, and they can engage them in conversation. And what we basically do, we take a lead that's considering bankruptcy and we gestate it or mature it faster than letting it mature on their own. As you know, someone who's going to Google and typing bankruptcy attorney near me has been thinking about bankruptcy for months and months earlier, right? So we're just getting the lead earlier and gestating it faster. And the third thing is we've had 110,000 debtors through our 720 credit score program, right? These are people who filed bankruptcy. We've run them through an analytics program and we serve ads to people that look like previous debtors. So those are the three ways we keep the lead costs low. We pass the savings on to the attorney so that they can stay in our complete system, our complete, take advantage of our complete system of us, and we hand it over to you to engage the lead and make that conversion faster.
Absolutely. So, I mean, just to kind of like summarize, there's three. One, you're getting the easy yes by making it silly to say no because it's $30, right?
So easy yes from the attorney.
Yeah, you're getting your clients, the attorney, to easily say yes. Mm-hmm. You want to say yes, right?
Yeah.
Because you're in it for the long-term relationship.
Right.
That makes sense. The second is you're not trying to beat up everyone else in the same platform of Google and any digital marketing. You're in social media where, guess what, guys? Your competitor isn't hitting this market. Attorneys, law firms in general have stayed away from social media because they don't think that it's something that consumers will speak about. But that's because we're thinking on the surface of, yeah, I don't want to go on Facebook and blast how we're a bankruptcy law firm and then expect people to engage that way. But what you've done, which is incredibly strategic and smart, is you've lived in the platform social media that other vendors and marketers aren't owning, aren't living, which i.e. the attorney's competitor. So it's a fresh pool they can swim in that they especially need now. And you're getting the people that are ready to communicate about maybe struggling, maybe having some credit issues.
Right.
And we know that is going to be a debtor.
Yeah.
And then you're partnering with me or my heroes and getting hot transfers, getting conversations going where we're nurturing them, we're hydroplaning them through the emotional phases of getting ready to have the conversation about bankruptcy.
Absolutely.
And we all wish in the bankruptcy world at the law firms that people didn't come to us on Friday at 5 p.m. and now their car's repoed and it's a 911. Right. And we find that there was a lead in our system from 3 years ago, right? And we just didn't do a great job of talking to them about anything outside. Do you want to file bankruptcy? Because nobody wants to say yes to that. So it's really about a pool that no one is really tapping, not like I've seen you do. making it incredibly inexpensive so that you can start the relationship with the law firm, and then creating a human being that has debts, that needs a bankruptcy law firm, as long as they're willing to have someone like HCT or even internally learn internally how to communicate outside bankruptcy. Let's
Right.
talk about the problem. Let's talk about what the consumer wants their life to look like, what they want to stop, prevent, what they want to be different.
Right. Right.
And then obviously the solution is bankruptcy, but let's start focusing on what's the problem? What do you want done about it? What is your perfect world scenario after I stop this problem? Great, here's how I can do that. Now it happens to be a chapter 7 or chapter 13,
Right.
but let's nurture and do the human to human piece better.
Right.
Rather than saying, oh, that's a bad lead, or oh, I don't want that, or oh, okay, call me when you're ready to file bankruptcy. Right.
Well, and the thing is, your point, Tiff, there's a lot of people who of the leads, okay, maybe they're, you get the heroes are talking to them and they're not quite ready to talk to a bankruptcy attorney. No big deal. We're following up with them. I mean, these are $30 exclusive leads. I mean, Nolo's selling the leads for $33 3 times. These are $30 exclusive. Yeah.
Nowadays, it's like $55.
It is?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't even realize that. Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay. So this is the beauty about what we're talking about here. And this is how we generate a lead. $30 and turn it into a retain, right? In 72 hours, right? Obviously it doesn't happen with every single lead, but at $30 cost point, you can be very, very profitable early.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's genius. It's
well,
genius.
I mean, it's something that's working in the marketplace right now, and I'm grateful for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so now let's talk about what the second one really should be. And I have my list here.
I mean, I think it's got to be something like, okay, we generate the lead, and now I'm asking you, right? Okay, Tiff,
Yep.
we generate this lead. Why did you, when we started doing these test message testing, we went from, talking to 35% of the clients, and you jumped it to 70%. Like, how is that even possible? Right? Like, what do these heroes do? And then you do a live transfer. How do these heroes, and I think I'll define, look, a hero is a call center agent, but HTT calls them heroes, or you can say that.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Like, how is it working? Like, what's the secret sauce, right?
No,
Is
absolutely. I think that's the second piece. We've got to answer how we generate $30. Now, how do we get a retain, right? Like, how does that happen?
Now, when I set this up, do you want me to say the same thing? Like, okay, next question to this $30 lead. Do you want me to set it up like that?
Yeah.
Okay. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And by the way, I called you Tiff a couple of times. Do you prefer Tiffany?
No, Tiff is fine.
I did. Okay, great. Okay, so the second question of this process of getting a $30 lead and turning it into a retain in 72 hours is, once we generate the lead, I mean, Tiffany, I've sent you these leads. So let me start over here. Sorry about that. Okay. Okay, so the second segment of taking a $30 lead and turning into a retain in 72 hours is what you guys do at HCT and your call center. So what do you guys do that gets these people on the phone, converts them enough to do all these live transfers? Because I can tell you, just from our perspective, before we used you, we were talking to around 35% of our clients, of the leads, right? The first month we sent over to you, you increased that to 70%, and it was like a game changer. So speaking of that, Tiffany, because I think that's important for everyone to know.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Hero Conversion Technologies, I have humans just like law firms have, humans working for them inside their office. I think the difference is my guys I call heroes because it's two parts. One, technology. So we have technology that allows us to hit a lead with a text, a call, within 30 seconds of receiving it. That's part one. If you wait 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, the next day, now you're chasing, and that vulnerability they had when they sought out and they became a lead is gone or lessened, right? So through technology, and not as much technology as what you think, like robo-dialers or heavy automation. My humans actually use technology, take out the robocall, take out the robo-text, and we use software that does mass text, but is still customizable. So the human feels like someone from their cell phone or their phone from the law firm is reaching out to that John Joe specifically about specifically what they said they were dealing with, right? And then the second piece is the heart and soul of my hero, right?
Yeah.
So that's getting on it and getting in front of them as quickly as possible within 30 seconds. And the second piece is the heart and soul of the hero of really wanting to focus on the human being, not selling a free consult. Because guess what, guys? Free means zero value.
Yeah.
The hardest thing to sell is free, because that means it has zero value.
Yeah.
My team is taught logic and human communication, not sales tactics. And that's what stands apart for your lead, any lead that's in our way, because they're taught to focus on, don't communicate, do you want to file bankruptcy? Do you want a free consult? Tell me about your debts, write off. These are strangers. We're taught not to speak that way, right?
Yeah.
Instead, it's, what's the biggest burden? We use language that taps into emotion and gets us on their level of, forget about what I'm trying to sell. You, human being, what are you struggling with? What's the biggest burden right now? Okay, do you also have medical bills? Do you also have this? If they talk about credit, don't go straight to their debts. Great, what is your credit score now? What would you do if you had a 720 credit score right now?
Yeah.
Because humans are taught, and the leads that you're working are taught to communicate surface level. And so what my heroes are trained to do is get them talking about, what does that mean? So when they say, well, I want to get out of debt, absolutely, that's what we do here. But tell me, John, what does that look like for you? I have a wand, debt's gone. What's different about your life, John? So we'll focus on what I think that human nature tells you to focus on when you're working inside a business, what problem you can solve for them and telling them how you can solve it. Instead, it's getting them to communicate outside the surface and dig deeper to, the true motivator, and then saying, okay, what does that look like? What do you want your life to look like? Getting them to think outside just solving the problem and stopping the bleeding, but rebuilding their life. Because if you can tap into that, you've got engagement, you've got rapport, you've got someone motivated. And then you get the facts, you get the motivator, and it's, okay, John, I have someone right now that can help you solve this right now. Let me get you to them. And we hot transfer. We work with our law firms and we show them how, even if you're listening right now and you're like, there's no way in reality I can do that, I'm booked until the end of time already, right? No, I work with guys that have multiple states, 16, 17, 20 offices, and they're booked till the end of time. And I show them how you can actually take a hot transfer, and that alone gets you a 20% upswing and retains.
Of course.
You don't even have to change how you do your consults.
No, of course. Go ahead. I'm sorry, didn't interrupt.
It's because the hero has taken this person and hydroplaned them through that emotional decision-making phases, right?
Yeah.
And then we don't hang up the phone. We hot transfer so they don't have time to go back to a natural state, which, by the way, the natural state is to stick their head back in the sand and really wait until it's almost too late, right?
Yeah, see, the beauty is what we're doing. We know that there's a gestation period of a bankruptcy lead, right? They look for months ahead of time. They're not talking about it to anybody. They may be talking to their friends and family about their credit or whatever, but they're not talking to their bankruptcy attorneys. They're trolling websites and reading blog posts or whatever that is, but they're not acting, right? what you do is you get the lead, you shift their mindset in real time. The live transfer is super important because, I mean, they're engaged at that moment, and I see too many attorneys, to your point, Tiffany, which it goes against, your coaching. When you get a lead and they're ready, we need to take action on that now and keep them engaged on those talking points that your heroes are delivering to the attorneys. And it's so important. And it's just very exciting to see the results in real time in terms of numbers, right? It's fantastic.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. If you can get on the lead with a quickness, if you can have a conversation outside, do you want to file bankruptcy?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can hot transfer. What you end up doing is you take a lead that you paid a lot less dollars for because you didn't tell Google, serve on a silver platter,
right,
someone that not only says they have debts, how much debt they have, and that it's too late and they have to file bankruptcy. Are they ready to talk to a bankruptcy attorney about filing bankruptcy? That's what we're asking Google and other marketers that lead gen for us to do. And so, of course, if they're going to do that, then they're going to cost $300 for the lead, not even CPR, for the lead, right? For the conversion. Yeah. What instead is stop, spending that money, or continue to, but come outside into a pool that a lot aren't in yet, right? And swim in that pool and start talking to them about other things outside bankruptcy. And you'll find that you still have the same result. Someone that does have the debt needs to file, and now you've got them through talking to them ready to file, right?
Well,
and then the hot transfer. I mean, I took a guy and we did 4 weeks of training. By the way, that was only 1 call a week, and went from 35 to 55%. That's the swing. On the low end, 35% retain rate, 55% the highest. In those 4 calls, those 4 weeks, averaging 65 to 75% retain rate.
Fantastic.
Now, I'll tell you, I do believe it was a lot of the training that we did, but he got that upswing in week 2, just because the first day when we hung up the call, we found a realistic logistical way that he could do hot transfers. So just implementing that piece got him most of that uptick on the retain rate.
Yeah. Oh no, I mean, that's first of all, there are techniques what you're talking about that are critical to follow. And second of all, the live transfer is key. And I want to go back to one thing also about the lead. When a lead goes into Google and type bankruptcy attorney near me and they call someone, that attorney is so excited about that call. They're like, they're jumping all over. And what can I do? Let's get you in tomorrow. No problem. I can easily stop the garnishment. The lead hears it and feels it. And what they do is they back out of Google, call the next one, comparing pricing, right? Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden it commoditizes the bankruptcy. And all of a sudden your bankruptcy price goes down and down and down and down. When you're talking a lead like we're talking about, that Tiffany's talking about, before they're like at the end, and one of your heroes, Tiffany, gets him on the phone, talks to him like a normal person, and almost like a therapist, relieving that pressure, and they move over to a live transfer. I mean, what are they gonna do? They're not going back and looking for another ad. This is something unique. It's different, which is why it's a different conversation and why it doesn't commoditize every bankruptcy, right? So to 1, the live transfer, 2, the coaching, 3, the way the leader is doing and the way your heroes are really bonding with the person in a different way.
It sounds simplistic, and in nature it is. The minute that you stop training your people to sell is the minute that you start winning, because now you're focused on the human. And my people are trained on asking questions. I actually look at calls, and before I even listen to the call to do a call calibration, I see how often did my rep, my hero, my call center agent talk versus the other person on the phone.
Mm,
And if my hero is talking 80% of the time, they're selling
mm,
because they're taught to ask questions where the other human, the one with the problem,
right.
and the need, is doing most of the talking because the answers to those questions lead the consumer's logic that they have this problem, they're facing the problem, they're accepting it, now they're motivated to do something about it. Yes, I want to talk to someone about solving it. They come to the logic themselves because we don't sell, we ask very strategic human communication logic questions so that the answer is what you would normally be selling.
Right.
And
Well, I
it's
mean,
from their phone.
you just said it sounds easy. I can, anyone listening to this other than you may think this sounds easy. This does not sound easy. I mean, like we said when we first talked, right? Like, oh my gosh, I don't know how you handle a call center. The average bankruptcy attorney, I mean, it's infinitely cheaper to use your call center than hire a staff. I mean, because first of all, the attorney doesn't have your training, your expertise, right? I mean, it's just, it doesn't sound easy. It's very complex, but you do it well. And that's the beauty about this 720 system strategies and HCT technologies. I mean, it's a win-win plug and play situation.
It's a very good synergy. And right now, I think it's incredibly important because it's only getting harder out there. And if right now you're a law firm and you're not meeting the goals that you want to meet, and your solution is to wait for the boom, you might not be around for when the boom happens.
Yeah.
It's really got to be doing things that are different, right? Swimming in those social media pools that you never swam in before because you didn't know how to engage there, or you didn't think that there was potential for what I call direct leads, right? Well, that's an indirect. Maybe it's some branding, maybe whatever, but I'm not going to get someone to communicate with me there and it actually become a lead. That's a lie.
Yeah.
Phil is doing it every single day for law firms around the US.
Yeah.
But how do you do that? And is it the branding of the law firm?
Is that a question?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you lagged. Okay.
Yeah,
So
so
is
is
it,
it a branding of the law firm?
oh yeah, I mean, every ad campaign we run, it's with the law firm's name. Oh yeah, absolutely. We're not advertising nationwide and bringing in thousands of leads we're not using. No, we advertise for the law firm. That's how it becomes this exclusive lead. Absolutely. Yeah.
So how amazing is that if you're listening in your law firm? Because, I mean, Google does that. It's someone that is saying they have a need and they want to call so-and-so law firm. And so they click to call an LSA, or they call the Google GMB number for that law firm. So that's much better than anything outside where you're going to a lead generation company. There's a million of them. I don't want to blast them and have them sending me hate mail, guys. But there's tons of lead gen companies out there that you can call up and you can pay $1, a cost for a lead, right? And that's a direct lead. But they're not doing that web form and taking your money and sending it to you. And that consumer is not saying, yes, I have a need, and yes, I want to talk to so-and-so law firm. No, that consumer is hitting on whatever marketing out there and saying, yes, I have a repo, or yes, this or that, and email me or have some conversation about some options. And then that's getting sold to other law firms. And now it's, a shark race out there. Whoever can get there faster, whoever can lower their price the most.
Yeah.
And that doesn't solve our problem, guys. Now we have less leads. We're having to fight harder. We are neck to neck with our competitor. And then the only thing we can do, because we put ourselves in that saddlebag, is say, okay, whatever he quotes you, I'll do cheaper. And then are you making money or not? And are you doing a good service or not, right?
It's not the business nor the life that most attorneys want. They choose those leads, those leads where everyone's running for them and lowering their price because they know no other. They don't have other options. Well, now there's another option, right? And it's designed around lifestyle of the attorney and profitability, right? And that's the beauty of this. Lifestyle of the attorney, profitability is what you get with our two companies, right? And it's just a blessing that once the attorney finds us, with a month-to-month agreement, the thing I love about both of us, Tiff, I mean, it's not like we're signing long-term contracts, right? How many times have I talked to attorneys like, oh, I got to see if I can get out of this contract? Look, everything I'm doing is month to month. Everything you're doing is month to month, right? I mean, you're trying it out. And if it doesn't work, they stop, they don't pay, right? And that's the beauty. And that's the commit. You could see the confidence we bring to the marketplace on this, because look, we're committing to you more profitability. We're committing to you a better lifestyle, and just follow our path. You don't need to reinvent any wheel here. We've done this tens of thousands of times, right? We know what to do. Just follow our system, and it works.
And I'd be leery of any marketer or any consultant that forces a term. I've been around, I've been doing this exclusively for over 13 years. I still have client number one. He still has paid me every month for 13 years. And so is everybody else. And I'm month to month. And that's because I have to work and my team has to work and your leads have to work every single month in order to get the next month. And I have no problem with that.
It completely aligns the interests of the attorney and the vendor, which is us, but it also aligns it with the debtor, because we want what's best for the debtor, right? I mean, we're not going to put someone into a bankruptcy nor would any attorney, because they just don't know. No, I mean, it only matters because we care about the reviews. We care about what's on social media. It aligns all three of us together to run together. We're rowing together, which is why we see the efficiencies and the effectiveness of the three-way team.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think one of the questions that I often get with my clients that I'm signing up with you, and even ones that have already signed up, is what is the difference? Because everyone knows Phil Tirone for 720, right? So oftentimes there's confusion on 720 program and the Facebook leads.
Right.
So I just want to say they're not one and the same.
Right.
And what's the high level, easiest way for a law firm to say, okay, this is this and this is this?
Right. So there's two companies. There's 720 Credit Score and 720 System Strategies. So let's just start with the System Strategies. The System Strategies is the company for the bankruptcy attorneys to help them with marketing. We generate a lead, we follow up with email marketing, we generate reviews, right? These type of things up front. 720 Credit Score is what many of our attorneys enroll their clients into as a way to say, hey, we're going to give you this program, 7 steps to 720 Credit Score, absolutely free as part of your bankruptcy. And when you do this, you're going to have a 720 credit score in 12 to 24 months. Oh, and by the way, it's not credit repair. It's rebuilding your credit around the bankruptcy, around the bad debt. And we've done this 110,000 times over the past 12 years, right? So the 720 System Strategies helps the bankruptcy attorneys market. 720 Credit Score helps the client. But what we use a 720 Credit Score messaging in the marketing for the attorney. So in my email marketing, we did an A/B split test. An A/B split test, for those who aren't aware with it, so we test the 2 different things for a set period of time. And we had a set of emails mentioning free enrollment into 720 Credit Score if you file bankruptcy with me. This is coming from an attorney. The second set of emails is the same follow-up emails, but we don't mention the free enrollment into 720 Credit Score. After 500,000 emails sent, the ones mentioned free enrollment to 720 Credit Score performed at 118% higher response rate than those without. To your point, Tiff, people want a life after bankruptcy. They want they want their life back. They want to be able to buy a car, buy a house, things like that. And that's what our attorneys do. They speak into that in the bankruptcy consultation and in the leads. Credit Score gestates the leads faster. So they're not embarrassed about a bankruptcy, because frankly, you can have a bankruptcy on your credit report and have a 720 credit score 8 years before that falls off. It doesn't matter. And that's the difference. Does that clarify that?
Absolutely, absolutely. And
Yeah.
you notice again, it's about really talking to them, not to just like, okay, great, I filed your bankruptcy, or okay, great, I'm going to file your bankruptcy, and look how great I am.
Yeah.
Because consumers aren't. They're not going, oh, my attorney filed my bankruptcy just right.
Yeah.
Because it stopped the bleeding, but that's not really what they're wanting.
No.
So at the start of the lead communication, all the way to the consult, all the way through the retain, all the way up till discharge and after discharge, it's talking about solving the true problem that they're trying to get through your head, which is, I want my life to be different than it is now.
Absolutely.
And that is more than stopping the bleeding of saying, I don't owe this money anymore, or getting it to a digestible, payment plan in a 13, right? No, I want you to say, you're going to do that, and you're going to help me make my life different and look more like this, which is always attached to, I want to buy a house, or I want a car that actually runs, or I want progress in my life. And that always stems and loops us all the way back to credit.
Yes. I mean, and the thing is, people, I mean, it just, I find it so interesting that like, this is not a natural for bankruptcy attorneys, because it's in their best interest. I mean, we've generated tens of thousands of Google reviews by simply asking them, do you want enrollment in the credit program? They say yes. Why would they not? Right? It's free. And we give them enrollment, and then we say, please give this a bankruptcy attorney a review. I mean, they're going on Google, publicly displaying their name, saying this bankruptcy attorney saved my life, yada, 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 yada. It's not rocket science, right? It's a law of reciprocity. You give something of value, someone wants to do something back for you. It's just the way it is. And another big misconception, people think that you can't raise your credit score during an active 13. Absolutely not. You want a client who's a walking billboard, they raise their credit score to 720 years before the discharge of the 13, and they go buy another home with FHA during an active 13. They're no longer embarrassed about their bankruptcy. They're inviting their friends over for dinner parties. Their friends are like, didn't you declare bankruptcy? They're like, oh yeah, but it's no big deal. I got the best attorney ever, right? We see this over and over in our program, our consumer facing, our 720 credit score program, right? Where these people get on our course and they're bragging about their bankruptcy attorneys, right? This is, you want your clients, your debtors to be walking billboards, then you teach them how to reap the benefits of their new life after bankruptcy. Then it takes all the shame away from bankruptcy.
Absolutely. And then you have the law of multiplication, right?
Yeah.
Now the numbers have just doubled and tripled and quadrupled and so on, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And you're adding a better service.
Well, yeah, I mean, well, and when you add value, there, the shoppers at some point stop and pause, right? I mean, think about it. Okay, you got a guy down the street. There's in every city, there's always a billboard, bankruptcy $700, right? How are you selling against that? Well, most bankruptcy attorneys would say, oh, I'm a boutique firm, or I give better service, or I'm going to handle your case better. No one buys any of that. Like, what does that mean, right? Oh, we're going to handle my case better? This guy's a lawyer. This is the debtor thinking. This guy's a lawyer. I mean, he's protected by the bar or whatever. I'm protected. So, but when you ask him, well, let me ask you, you're going to buy a car in the next 5 years? The debtor's like, well, yeah. Well, I'm going to give you a program, give it to you free, 720 credit score, which is going to help you get a much, much lower interest rate when you buy your next car. And I'm going to show you how it's done. And you give them one of our flyers, right? And the debtors already all of a sudden realize, wow, I can go down here and save $500 one time, or save $200 a month with this attorney. Debtors aren't that dumb. I mean, they get it.
And prevent me having to go through bankruptcy again.
Well said. Well said.
A lot of debtors get back into the refile and become clients of yours again because they got into another car that had 24% interest and they couldn't afford it. and there was one payment, now the 24% interest and right? But they got in that situation again after bankruptcy because they didn't do anything to help build their credit score after the bankruptcy. They didn't do anything to rebuild. They just stopped the bleeding, right?
Right.
And so what you're able to do is prevent this from having to happen again. Let me tell you something. If you work that into your communication with consumers, all day long, they're going to be choosing you because they don't want to just file bankruptcy and get this behind them. They want to just file bankruptcy, get this behind them, and never have to do it again.
You know, that's such a unique point that I never really thought in that nuance until you just said that. There's a fear of refiling. I hear it on our 720 credit score calls. We do these live question answer calls, and people are paranoid. Oh, what if I get in this situation again? And by speaking into it proactively, very powerful. I never even thought about that from a consumer bankruptcy perspective. I mean, that relieves them so much of this stress of like, well, you're not going to be in this position again because I'm going to train you. And that's what our 720 credit score in essence does. And by the way, it's not expensive. I mean, this is like a one-time small fee, varies depending on the company, but it's, I mean, very, very reasonable price.
So I'm going to see you at NAFTA.
Yeah.
You're going to see me at NAFTA. I hope everyone that is watching this and listening to this comes and sees us at NAFTA. The first night, Thursday, we're doing one-on-ones. So we have a booth there. Obviously, come see us at the booth, but I would rather do some one-on-ones so we can talk some specifics. I think we've kind of done the elevator pitch right now. Absolutely. So you kind of have the elevator pitch that you would get at the booth. Why not get a custom specific to your firm, your needs, what you're wanting to happen, your direct questions, and we can answer them one-on-one. There'll be a link at the bottom of this email. It'll be why wait. You can even hit us up. I mean, we've got weeks before NAFTA. You can get on our calendars before NAFTA. If you'd like to see our face in person and do it at NAFTA, great. You can do a one-on-one. You can schedule the time. We're opening it up between 4:30 to 6:37. We'll see how much the calendar blocks off and gets reserved. So act now. Let's either have a call before NAFTA or meet one-on-one at NAFTA and specifically get your questions answered and go from there. I mean, at the end of the day, where's the risk? If you're not doing it now and you're not happy with your results now, why not try it? Whether that just be just Phil, I'm good with that. Just me, we're good with that.
Absolutely.
But what you don't do, what we're not good with is if you're not happy now and you haven't tried this before, then you have to do something different. And the risk is 30 days of trying. It either makes you money, it makes you happier, or it doesn't.
Absolutely. And for those attending NACPA, that the presentation we're giving will be CLE credit also. And for those who aren't attending NACPA, it's going to be recorded, right? So we're going to have a lot of value, and we're looking forward to being there and getting a lot done in those 3 days. It's going to be the best NACPA ever.
Absolutely. I'll make sure the happy hour and I'll buy you a drink at the free happy hour.
Thanks, Dave. I look forward to it.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.